Hey Tubies, this is Bob Hickman. It is so good to be back with all of you. Well, I want to say thank you to all of you who have been writing in, sending such wonderful letters, such wonderful comments on my videos. You guys seem to really be enjoying the Alien series video series. And so I've been getting a lot of letters, and as I promised you, we're going to continue that today. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. But also want to say, for those of you who are new here, if you haven't seen my horoscopes video, that's the one right before this. And I cover all 12 zodiac signs for the month of December. So if you want a little psychic help this month, check out that video. As I said, it's the one right before this one. Also, I wanted to come here and also just bring a little brief update. A lot of you have been sending me a lot of letters, been very worried about the stalking. I've been getting calls from a lot of you. You've been writing on Instagram. Just to give you an update, the stalking situation is still occurring. Since I did my video, they escalated the microwave attacks to me, and I have been rather severely injured and recovering from that. Unfortunately, a lot of times microwave energy does not leave a physical mark. So somebody would look at you and say, well, you look fine, but really inside you do get injuries. You get burns and lesions and get very sick. Because I put out my video, they did step up harassment against me with the electronic weapons. They also broke into my house and smashed up my furnace system. So I now have no heating in my house. The damages are probably going to be about $4,000 to $5,000 in damage. Now, they thought that would intimidate me and silence me, but I'm not scared, and I'm not going to be silent. The truth is, the government is now killing citizens, and they are doing horrific things to many targeted individuals. So I stand with all of you in the targeted individual community. I send you my love, my blessings. We're going to get through this, and we've got to hang together. And for those of you who are not TIs, target individual term is TI, thank you. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for your prayers. We need to get the word out. And I hope all of you here at Spiritual will start sharing that video and telling more and more people. Put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, put it on social media. Really, we want to get the word out there. And I really appreciate everybody's support because as crazy as it all sounds, it's all very true. Anyways, we'll have more about that in future videos. But for today, I wanted to talk about another alien race. Alien race I've been getting a lot of letters about recently are the Nordics. And the Nordics, their name comes from like the Earth term for Norway or the North, the northern people. And the Nordics are probably the alien race that we are most closely connected to. The Nordics are basically Caucasian humanoids, blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin. Now, not all of them are blonde hair and blue eyes. Some of them have dark hair. I've heard that they have brown-haired ones, black-haired ones, red-haired ones, and every color in between. And their complexions vary. They're not all pure white. Some are darker, a little darker color, but they look basically exactly the same as you and I. The difference with the Nordic aliens, though, and the humans are that the Nordic aliens tend to be a lot taller. They average around 6 feet at the low end to like 7 and 8 feet tall. And interestingly, people who have encountered them have said, at first they're very intimidated by them because they're so big. But what's interesting is it seems that the majority of the encounters with the Nordics have been rather positive. They speak English fluently. They're very polite, very intelligent. And, a lot of people feel, when we talk about the aliens, they say, well, I don't know if I can handle the praying mantis aliens. That freaks me out. The Greys freak me out. But the Nordics I can handle. So, and I think that's because we do share, interestingly, a common genetic link with them. Some of the Nordics have told people who have visited with them that that they started life here on Earth, that they came here millions of years ago, found the planet and seeded life and started it growing. So many of them have indicated, and people that have encountered them have reported that they are really like our grandparents or our parents in a sense from the cosmos. Is that possible? Yeah, I think it's very possible. Like I put on YouTube, excuse me, on Instagram recently, a quote. By the way, you might want to go check out my Instagram page. I do a lot of UFO stuff over there. I'll put the link below here, so check that out. But I put up a quote that I said once, and it's like, "Who are the aliens?" And I said, "We are the aliens, and they are us." And I think that really sums up the truth about who the Nordics are. I really do feel that there is truth in the idea that we are all interconnected, So when we talk about aliens, those people out there, really they're not really so far away or so different. So the human race, according to the Nordic alien teachings, we have come from them. And so that's why we look alike and understand each other so well. Some of you said, well, Bob, where are the Nordics from? Well, interestingly, there are a few different actual locations. From what I understand, the Nordics are not from any one particular star system, but are kind of spread throughout the universe. But where they are predominantly found are, one, the Pleiades. And you guys know the Pleiades star system. It's sometimes called the Seven Sisters. You can actually see that in the night sky. And I encourage you to go. It's kind of faint, but if you get out where it's a little darker, you can see it. But it's the star system called the Seven Sisters. That's actually part of the Pleiades star system. And that is where the Nordic races come from, one of the locations. I've also heard tales that the Nordics come from Venus as well. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, Bob, scientists have proven there's no life on Venus. Well, let me quantify that. It's believed that the life on Venus is at a higher frequency. So when we talk about the third dimension and that energy, yes, truly the conditions on Venus are hostile towards a human form of life. But it's believed that the Venusian races that are connected to the Nordic alien race are at a higher frequency. So again, we cross into this issue of transdimensional reality. And I think we have to really kind of keep that in mind when we talk about aliens. It seems that more and more, many of the races have an element where they've learned to transcend physical matter and to exist in a higher frequency state. Now, when we talk about a higher frequency, that doesn't mean like they're ghosty and all filmy and flimsy. No, at the higher frequencies, their reality is just as solid as your reality and my reality. And there are reports of the aliens, the Nordic aliens, some of them being able to literally physically appear, physically disappear, and their ships, some of them have a transdimensional element. There are some people who said, well, I saw their ship take off and then it just literally blipped out. Maybe it travels at the speed of light, but I've also heard people say it's a transdimensional shift. So now in my last alien video, we talked about UFOs and we talked about the giant motherships. And as you may recall, the giant Cigar Craft are the ones that are most commonly associated with the Nordic races. It seems to me that's their craft. And, I don't remember if I mentioned it in that video, but when I was growing up, I had a neighbor in my neighborhood. He was a very reputable man. He was a teacher, very educated. He actually saw one night and watched for like an hour one of these craft. He had been traveling. He was out in the country, and it was a clear night, and he was literally able to see the craft. And he said it started to glow bright orange. And he's described, he drew pictures of it for me. I wish I'd saved those, and I think those would be valuable pictures today. Unfortunately, he's no longer in the earth realm. But he described to me in detail this cigar craft. And the people who have encountered the Nordics described the very exact craft that my friend described for me and drove. So this does seem to be very consistent. Now, as I said, there are two areas that they're predominantly from. One is the Pleiades star system, and the other is Venus. So, again, the Pleiades star system aliens seem to be more physically based, whereas the Venusian ones seem to be more transdimensional or higher frequency. But in the end, all of them basically are us. And the truth is we are from them and are of them. So I think if we were going forward in terms of, alien disclosure, which I really do, and I'm telling you as a psychic, it's going to come out within the next probably 2 to 3 years here. I would encourage the governments of the world perhaps to start with introducing the Nordics. See, the fact is the governments of the world have met all of them. Okay, they've met the Nordics, they've met the Greys, they've met the praying mantis type aliens. So really, the governments know all of this. They're hiding it, but it'll soon come out. And when it does, everybody here at Spirit Channel will go, we knew it all along, So you guys are in on it, you know what's going on. But I would encourage the governments maybe to start with introducing the Nordics. I think that for the world population that may not be as enlightened about all of this, maybe the Greys, God bless the Greys, no offense Greys if you're watching this, it may be a little shocking for the world to accept that. The Nordics would be, I think, an easier take because they look like us and people won't be as afraid. And they seem to be very genteel. Now, interestingly, within the mix of the Nordics, I have heard stories of some Nordics that are less than, how shall I say, positive. Some of them have aligned with the gray aliens and also the reptilians. So, it's like I said, there's a bad apple in every bunch. But overall, as a race, they're peaceful people, they're advanced people. It's believed that the Nordics were involved in a cosmic war at some point with the people from Draconis, from the reptilian aliens. And there's been, from what I understand, kind of a ongoing it's almost like a Cold War now. They're not actually violent anymore. They've held back fighting, but there's a standoff kind of between the those from Draconis and those of the Pleiades. So, this shift of energy in the universe could go any ways. And I think that the Earth is kind of like the middle ground. It's like the reptilians from Draconis star system are here, and then we've got the Nordics. And each of them are trying to get influence over the world, over the human population. I'm hoping for the Nordics to win on that one, to be honest with you. We are going to do a video soon on the reptilians as well, because that's a whole nother story that we need to go further into. But for right now, I want you guys to remember that the Nordics, for the most part, are pretty good. They're kind of the good guys of the universe. And I do think that, when I look at them, one of the things that I find is that they do not practice violence. They have said that they too have held off making full disclosure of themselves to the earth because, one, they still want to watch our evolution. It's kind of like, remember we talked about the Prime Directive in another video. They're watching and holding back, so they don't want to interfere. On the other hand, they're also very concerned about our propensity towards violence, particularly in the area of nuclear arms. And many of the Nordics have had extensive discussions with Earth people about their concerns over the proliferation of nuclear arms. So I think that they are concerned and they are trying to hopefully enlighten people to step back from that sort of destructive behavior. And I think if we came down to having a nuclear war, I'd like to think that the Nordics might actually for once intervene and stop that. So we can hope for that. If you want to connect more strongly with the Nordics, I would encourage you to spend some time in meditation. All of these alien races have already mastered the psychic realm. They understand how the spirit and the mind, the soul, the body all interconnects. So you want to just settle down, go within yourself, and ask for them to come. You can think of them as our great-grandparents from the stars. You might even address them as such. Great-grandparents from the stars, we welcome you. And you may get a sense, I've heard this from other people, like they'll have a moment where they'll be sitting in their house, and suddenly it'll be almost like a voice saying, go outside, go outside. And it might even be like 3 a.m, but when they go outside, one of the craft are over their home. So you might be able to draw them to you. Interestingly, the Nordics don't actually abduct people in the sense that the Greys do. What happens is a lot of times people will encounter them while out hiking. A lot of times they set down their craft. They also have, as I mentioned in the other video, UFO saucer craft. And they'll set those down in a remote, isolated area where they're studying something or just to refuel or recharge. And a lot of times humans end up walking up upon them. They come upon them all of a sudden. And so they actually are invited to go on the craft, have a tour, and meet with them. One of the people who is very famous in history for this experience is also known as Billy Myers. And Billy Myers is out of, I believe it's out of Switzerland or Germany. I don't have his book here. I think it's Switzerland. But he's very famous for having had a lot of encounters with the Pleiadians, the Nordic race of the Pleiadians. And he described the situation very much like others. Basically, they kind of come up to you and act like, they're long-lost friends. And basically say, well, we're just visiting and checking you guys out. It's good to see you. And would you like a tour? So they seem to be very friendly. And I think that's for me a very positive thing to hear. And I'm very happy to know that. Whenever I've done research on the Nordics, the reports are very consistent. And as a psychic, I feel like energetically, I can feel their vibration. They are a higher frequency. So I don't think we need to be worried. Like with all things, as I say, caution. But I think that, should the Nordics suddenly appear or the government disclose their presence on the earth, I don't think we have to really worry about it. Okay. Anyways, guys, well, listen, tell me in the box below, are you familiar with the Nordics? Maybe you've encountered them. Maybe you've seen them. I've actually heard some people say that they even walk around in cities. They wear human clothes and dress like humans, and they just come and live among the people and observe us up close. So you may have actually encountered a Nordic just literally walking down the street somewhere. If you've ever had that encounter, share that with me. Interestingly, the people of the Nordic countries, Sweden, Finland, Norway, the Scandinavian countries, they are believed to be much more genetically connected to them. That's one of the earlier connections with them. So, anyways, I'm particularly interested to hear from people. I know I get viewers in all of those countries, Norway, Sweden, Finland. Can you guys tell me, have you had any encounters in your countries? Are you familiar with the Nordics? I'd love to hear. Put it in the box below. Anyways, guys, share your comments. Listen, keep it here. On Thursday, we're going to have messages from the spirit world. You don't want to miss that. And keep watching, because next week also we're going to have another video coming on the mystical sea goddess Mazu. And I put her picture over on my Instagram, so you want to check that out. Anyways, guys, keep it here. We got more coming. But listen, right now, tell me in the box below your thoughts on the Nordics, if you've encountered them, if you've seen their ships, anything you want to share. I'd love to hear it. Anyways, also, please give me thumbs up, comment, like this, favorite, share with your friends. And also, thank you again for all of your support, your wonderful letters. I'm glad you're here. Keep watching. We'll have plenty more coming. Thanks so much, guys. Blessings to all of you.